because you should
have
know
to
that.
share it more.
No, you should know this. I should know it too.
It's that time of the week again. Welcome to the Markets podcast. It's episode 16.
Actress.
If you can.
Euphoria.
Believe that. Yeah. We were talking about who. What's her name?
Sydney Sweeney.
I tried to watch one episode of that show, and
My wife is all
had
over
to
Euphoria.
hard pass on that.
She really likes it. She liked it. I think it was getting a little strange, maybe potentially.
A little strange.
Yeah, I never watched it, but no. The reason why that came up is she's hosting Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay.
So I was just going through Instagram there, and I saw
they came out with like a whole list of the next few weeks.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah,
they do that. Last week was some guy I never heard of. Fired. The guy was a castmate that got fired, and then they brought him back. He hosts his own podcast. It was actually really funny.
It seems a little
It's actually
desperate.
pretty funny. And then Adair's 21 Savage was on last week, but I fell asleep.
There you go. All right, let's get into a few market topics to kick things off because, hey, stocks just go up.
This is a markets podcast?
They're not allowed to go anything else but up.
See how much chilling out here today? We've got this nice little...
Friday.
I like this. I like
got the Friday
mood.
vibe
We've got the
going.
Friday. We've got everything. Oh, I better not do that because I feel like my mic might fall off if I...
Oh, well.
Can you believe this? Another record close.
Let's look at a weekly chart here for a few things because, yeah, the market only goes up. It's not allowed to do anything but go up 2 weeks in a row. Even if you go back to this red week, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of 8.
Remember we went red 1 week there and we were like, oh my God, oh my God.
And it wasn't even, it was a hammer candle. It wasn't even like an actual red negative candle. Here's the NASDAQ, meanwhile.
Yep.
And we'll get into the tech and semiconductors here, but the NASDAQ, pretty impressive. Ooh. As you mentioned, all-time highs and then some once again today. Here's the Dow. I mean, the Dow is on just an unbelievable run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 17 of 18 for the Dow, Sean.
17 of 18. Yeah, so that feels silly selling. Right? So I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember selling.
I thought we had this conversation at some point.
680, 780. We do. We have this conversation a lot.
Pretty much every week.
Selling more. At least I bought some more stuff this week, including some Bitcoin.
What'd you buy?
Yeah, actually, I just bought Bitcoin. Bitcoin. I bought it last weekend, which was a good one.
ETFs?
Yeah, and then we bought. I was going to try to save this maybe for when we're doing it, but no, I did buy the iBit because we had that Coinbase crash, which we are going to get to.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yes.
Is that on the docket?
We definitely should.
Did you actually review the notes this week?
Regardless of whether it is or not, we should.
Is that a yes or a no that you reviewed the podcast document?
Sean, I have nothing else to do.
Is it a yes?
All day long. So, yes, I did.
Right. I have nothing else to do either.
Yeah.
All right. So, no, I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention here because it's the PE of the market again. It's absolutely huge. It's 27.8%. Right now, it's a monster PE, as you can see. A year ago, I was trying to find where a year ago is. It's about here, February of 2023. We were at 22 PE for the market. This is on the S&P 500, now up to 27. So that's about a 20%, sort of bump up there on price to earnings ratio. But again, I feel pretty justified with some of the price to earnings right now because it's that forward number. There's so much push forward here, especially in a lot of the names that are dragging up the major markets. We have NVIDIA. It's still expecting to sell every single chip they make and every single GPU that they make. We have Apple dragging down a little bit. What if that gets better? And what if that China story isn't as bad potentially as we thought it was? The market with that PE of being 27, slightly higher than the market average of 23 to 24, but I'm pretty comfortable with it. It's not like it was a couple of weeks ago before earnings. We were up to 32, 33. I feel like we had a good earnings season, and a lot of these names, Brendan, justified where they are. You saw AMD break out today. And honestly, we talked about it. What's slowing this thing down? We already know. We talked to Frank a lot this week. The Fed's decision's already made, I feel like, and we're just going to wait for more data. PCE comes out as expected, and the market rips.
It was actually lower.
Was it lower? I thought it was 0.4.
There was certain aspects of it that came out in the right direction, and I think that's what most of the expectations were for another higher print. And then it comes out not only in line with expectations, but some of the data points that make it up were actually below. I wanted to show this, which kind of goes along with what you were just saying.
There it is there, yeah.
That's 7 companies versus everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So
We know that though. Like, I'm
long
almost
story-
tired of that story, aren't you?
long story short, just buy 7 companies and forget the rest. Here's another kind of interesting visual, speaking of NVIDIA.
Was that Sharif's guy there?
And 10,000 invested.
Yeah. Oh, I love these charts. We talked about this the other day with Peloton. It was completely the other way around.
1.8 million.
Yeah, when was that? What's that? bottom?
2014.
Yeah, yeah. No, I actually have a real life story. Remember
you
we
were
talked
talking about it,
that.
yeah.
My friend of, you should be maybe a little bit of a better friend, you know. We talked about it. He sent me a text from Facebook Messenger back in 2017. And when our kids, both of our sons kind of grew up together, he's since moved away from the GTA, so we're not super close. But he sent me a text. He was like, remember this? Well, we were talking about it. And I remember it, Brendan. I was on the subway. I was getting off at Runnymede Station. I remember the day 100%. And we were texting back and forth about what we were buying. I have in capital letters, FANG. So Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google at that time, and he put in NVIDIA. He was like, NVIDIA, I'm buying NVIDIA. And he showed me the screen cap from then. He put in 60 grand. Now worth 500 and something thousand dollars because he got out of half.
And that had to be on the gaming aspect of it.
I think it was crypto.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
so I think it was crypto, and it was just the fact that it was so low, and it was one of the next things. He is a tech guy.
Right.
So another one of his big plays was Shopify. Oh my God! But the thing is, what's the next one? I mean, that's the story.
the real
Palantir.
conversation. Dell.
Abercrombie and Fitch.
AI.
Cardano.
Here, the other thing with NVIDIA, before we get off
Eli Lilly.
NVIDIA. No. They are now the third
Brendan
largest.
has spoken. No Eli Lilly.
They are now the third largest company in the world.
1.9 trillion?
Closed above 2 trillion
Trillion.
capitalization today for the first time.
Yeah, wow.
And
good for them.
surpasses Saudi Aramco.
Yeah, well, oil is oil, and the only good thing about Saudi Aramco is I guess there is no bottom to oil. Oil's been nicely upside. We got a really nice break. Someone said in the chat today, wow, Sean was nailed XLV, which was a good one. I mean, a lot of stocks are up. I just thought about XLE. It's not like it's super sexy here. It's not even moving that much, but just a nice place to sort of park some of your potential winnings. I'm going to call them winnings. It feels like a lottery these days in the stock market. If you are getting a little nervous about what we talked about there, the PE being 20% above average, plus XLE now making a little move. I think it's breaking out. I like oil services. I think this can continue to work. XLE, very efficient marketplace energy right now with Exxon, Chevron, Oxy, and all these names continuing to merge, buy some new names in there. They're not merging, but they've had some purchases as of recently, mergers and acquisition side of things. I like energy, and I think that there's a good value to be had in some of the energy names right now. Their PEs are like 5 and 6.
Now all they have to do is just add AI to their
And they will. You don't think they will? We talked about Caterpillar.
oil AI.
Caterpillar. All of a sudden, Caterpillar just puts a little chip in a tractor, and now all of a sudden you can see where your farmer is on a daily basis, and the production and all that from said tractor. And the next thing you know, Cardano, Eli Lilly, Caterpillar goes all the way to the upside there. Caterpillar. Have you seen that? I know. I think you're in it, right? Or is it Sharif that's in it?
No, not Caterpillar.
Look at Caterpillar acting. I mean, here's the chart here. Caterpillar back on October was 226. It's 336 right now, taking out eyes here on Caterpillar. Absolutely amazing name. I think John Deere is next.
Like, is that not just a pure interest rate play at this point?
Think about I don't know. Is it? Why? Because people. But then if interest rates go down, you can buy more tractors.
These tractors are $300,000. Like,
so interest rates.
Somebody has to be
which
financing. Well, the fact that apparently at some point, at some point they're going to get better. So that chart explains that.
Maybe we buy John Deere. You know, look at John Deere as opposed to Caterpillar. Caterpillar breaking out on 52-week highs. Look at John Deere, 367 right now, nowhere near the top. I'm going to talk to Danielle Shea about this a little bit.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind this at all. It's 3-4% dividend.
One thing that happened this week was kind of interesting. It happens every other year, but this just happened to be one of those years that it was a leap year.
Yeah.
But
I
saw somebody ask a question that I thought was kind of interesting. If you were doing some sort of historical back test or look at data going back over the years for a specific strategy, like, do you just throw out every other year on that day if it's to get that granular? If every other year on February 29th, there's no data do you just throw out the next year of data and say that never happened?
I mean, I'm not sure how deep, in-depth digging you're doing about this data.
No, it was
but
just,
think
I just saw somebody ask that question.
I
I
think
thought
you can go without
that's
one
kinda
day of
interesting.
data. Yeah, I think that's very.
If you were born,
I never thought.
if you were born on a leap year,
Yeah, then yeah.
are you half the age?
No, you're a quarter the age. Isn't it every 4 years or?
Same thing. My point was simply, what happens every time?
Where are we?
You okay?
I'm fine.
All right, good. What happens every time there isn't one of those?
Right, I know. Yeah. I
versus
never thought about that.
the time
you know,
there is.
You know what? It was funny because it didn't really affect. Did it affect you? Like sometimes people say, like when we have daylight savings time, all of a sudden you get less productive for that week or whatever. It's just another day. I didn't even feel anything about this February 20th.
No, it's just from a data standpoint.
No, I know what you're saying
it
about
creates
data.
An interesting story.
Yeah, I have to see that tweet honestly because
I have it here. This is the
I
historical
want to see what this is talking.
leap day. This is just returns, which this is not important, but
Leap day returns. That's crazy.
so super positive if you go back far enough.
It's funny so what's the biggest day there? Minus 2.7 there in 2008. Is that what that says?
Which, if you hadn't heard, there was a few other things going on in 2008.
I don't know. I never saw that data point before.
No,
I wonder if
it's
it's just any
meaningless,
different
but-
than like another random day. But I get what you're saying there. You could have a little bit
If
of.
you're actually doing a granular test,
Right.
Like what do you do with the rest of those days? I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter.
I don't know. I don't dig down that deep, to be honest with you. Actually, I had a question very, very similar to this that I wanted to ask you. It's not a would you rather or anything like that. It's where do you really think that AI is for the future of kind of what we're doing here at Trader TV Live? Like I was thinking about this, and it's just like we talk about how AI is taking away, and not right now, but I think the threat is eventually we take jobs away from people as far as maybe even data entry jobs, because now we can just pull from articles, and it's just very, very easy to scrape things now with AI. And then we also have the computation side of things, like you're an analyst, and now all of a sudden your information just becomes so much easier to get. So it's still about putting it together. we've been fighting machines for a while, and I know that you're more now on the hosting side and maybe having I was actually just going to ask you this. I don't remember the last time you put a trade through on the PPRO8 platform. Do you remember?
Been a long time.
Yeah, so long ago. So I was just thinking, this is probably a better question to ask for Neil. I don't see that much change right now, like on the level 2, but I'm really thinking that pretty soon we might not have too many more human traders standing around hitting keys like we're doing right now, which I think is very important, that especially people at Real Trading, you get to learn how to code.
Yeah.
And I think that part of Gemini and ChatGPT and all that is, of course, it's changing the lifestyle of a lot of traders, but it's making us more efficient potentially. For if we can figure out a strategy, maybe we can code it in there and spit something out to us where, sure, trading is still automated to some extent, but I still feel like we have to have a human aspect to making decisions.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And it's, I had a friend who actually put this, not the same argument, but a similar argument in a very easy to understand term, and that is, how can humans with our meat sticks ever learn to or get to a point where we can compete with that technology specifically?
Right, and that's kind of what I was asking you there, and I think that's just emotions, right? It's a computer only does what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
There's going to be some kind,
but speed, efficiency,
that's so much better.
Volume is not even comparable.
So I'm using it now. We had something from Danielle Shea on there with a short squeeze indicator. So I feel like that's maybe where we're going, just better information. But I still feel like there's going to always be a job for us, because you still got to sit there and decide what stocks to trade when, share size and all that kind of stuff. And hey, if anybody has an algo that's working amazing right now, at Trader TV Shop.
Don't ever sell it.
Is it hot over there, Fabian, or what?
No, it's
You didn't get the AC fixed around here.
It's all a mindset.
I like that shirt, by the way. Is that a new shirt?
This is definitely not a new shirt.
I like that shirt.
Let's talk about Bitcoin.
What's up, Obi?
It did a few things this week.
Yeah, Bitcoin's great.
What a wild, what was it, Wednesday, I guess
my
it
guy
was?
Fabian over there is in Bitcoin for sure.
64,000 and 59,000 all in a half an hour or so.
I was sitting there and I was just like, yo, Sharif, man, stop talking about walking man theories or whatever you were doing there. The Bitcoin just dropped $4,000.
Like
and
that.
it was out
Yeah.
of nowhere.
Yeah.
They wiped out actually on, here it is. I mean, here's just a 4-hour chart right here. Here's the move here, 63 right down to like 60 and change, and basically stops there. And then it's 11 o'clock here on the 29th, stops there, then just completely makes that move up. I actually really like that bottom, Brendan. And if you see this, I can't call up Coinbase on this chart, but nice move down there. And I actually did buy that dip, Brendo. I went in there and I bought some IBIT for the very first time. This is on a weekly chart, so let me just throw this down to a daily chart here. I was saying this to you before last week when we talked about why we really liked the ETFs, and I just thought it was just so easy to buy, and that was a perfect example. If DEER goes down, we can hop into our TFSA, our RSP account, our iTrade account, whatever, Robinhood, whoever you're in, and simply buy shares. Before, at least on my bank and where I'm trading, didn't have the opportunity to go in there and buy Bitcoin. You'd have to take your money out,
Sure.
put it into Coinbase, put it into WonderFi or wherever you're trading through and buy BTC that way. Now I just say, oh, sell Meta, buy BTC. It's literally that simple, and I used IBIT for that, and I think the inflows that have been happening, the BlackRock went over 7 billion or something right now. They're absolutely huge, these inflows.
And there's a couple of different ways that I think we can approach this. There's this, which I thought was massively important to, massively important to this conversation, in that I don't think a lot of people understand the size of the holdings behind some of these companies. MicroStrategy, obviously.
193,000 Bitcoin, is that what that says?
Yeah. And they just bought 30,000 more at $51,000.
51.8 MSTR.
So, I mean, that's kind of a case in
That's kind of like
its
an
own
ETF
self.
itself, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, even some of these other ones, like Mars 15,000, Tesla still has 9,000.
Michael Saylor.
Tesla still has 9,000 Bitcoins.
Really? Isn't that a lot of money? 60,000 times 9,000?
Coinbase, like the holding, like Block, I keep calling it Square, but Block has 8,000
I always call
Bitcoin.
it Square. That's true, eh? Yeah.
That's Block.
Why don't we hear more talk about that?
Yeah. Like the holdings alone behind some of these companies, like that value alone has to be a part of this conversation.
Well, the thing is, it is an infinite resource because it's becoming, and we're going to have the Crypto Bourbon next week on one of the market recap shows, or maybe even on the main show. Good discussion there for him. And that is that what's going to happen with this halving, and apparently it's going to make, and this is not my area of expertise, of course. People listening would know more about this, but it's going to make hash a lot harder. It's going to make it harder to produce these Bitcoins and to go in there and mine them. So I feel like maybe potentially a story like a Mara that has these things all set up, and I know Mara made a move down on earnings there, but I'm just wondering if this is the right way to go. If it becomes only 21 million Bitcoin out there, and then you showed that graphic, these companies are holding it and not selling it, then you have over 65% of the active wallets right now haven't even moved in a year. That includes wallets from me, you, whoever's holding them. They're not selling. Whether or not you have 1% of a Bitcoin or whatever, they're not exiting that way. And now they don't have to, because now you can trade with the ETFs. So I really think I'm pretty bullish. I mean, are you bullish on Bitcoin from these levels?
I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week. I've never been a huge crypto bull. I've never been a huge crypto person, but I also said last week that, you know, I've been very, very wrong in this conversation, and it has to get to a point where you have to consider at least something, which I do, but I'm not going to be buying more.
It's not even, I feel like there's a lot of people getting very excited about Bitcoin, and for good reason. But at the same time, it's not like it's outperforming. Like if you just bought Meta, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of other names that are ripping equally as much as Bitcoin.
Sharif bought it for the first time this week.
What?
Bitcoin.
I know, that was the indicator for me to possibly sell.
No, but that's the point. And I even said that to him. When you go to the barber, when you get in an Uber,
and
when
everyone's talking about it.
I mean, we had a contractor here after 4 o'clock last night that I was talking to.
Bitcoin?
Guess what he was asking me about?
Yeah.
Bitcoin and NVIDIA.
Of course.
Which
I got a text today right on live on the show.
If you go back to the last time Bitcoin made an all-time high,
that's the talk.
It didn't matter where you were. It was, everyone was talking about Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's already touched this level a couple times and fall from here.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it was a stock, people would be taking some out.
Yeah.
Just that people believe so much in this. The difference is, if you're Meta, you can drop an offering of, you know, 3 million shares or whatever, and the market just laps that up. That's a way for them to raise capital. Bitcoin can't do that.
No.
It's just going to be 21, I believe that's right? 21 million coins will be out there, and that's the end of the supply. So if the story remains where it is and people want to keep owning these things, then I feel like it goes higher. And I just want to look at Mara here just because, honestly, they had an offering as well. And I don't think an offering on a stock that's a mining company here in California is necessarily a horrible thing. Buying more equipment, if you like the Bitcoin story, I don't want to bury, a potential trade idea here for the end of the day, but Mara down here, and again, this is a daily, we'll see where it winds up, but Mara down here isn't an ugly stock at all, down into $14, $15. We'll see if we can get a better price. But right now, Mara, off of a huge move up, just fell right back down. I'm looking at that name.
All right, just quickly, you alluded to this, but this kind of just puts it in visual form, the inflows for these ETFs continue to just march on higher. What is that? BTCO US equity 72 million at the top that's circled for some reason. I'm not entirely sure on this graphic why, but all-time highs for inflows.
Yeah, that's those are all the ETFs combined.
Yeah.
I think they're going well. So I had the Mara. Mara's nowhere near 14. That was on a different time frame. Right now, this 50 period right here is $23. So that's where you want to buy it. When I was like Mara down at $14, like where are we? A couple months ago. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. I think
story goes on.
I think you pick and choose whatever one you like. You look at the fees. Some of them are free. We talked about this. I believe ARKB.
At least for
the
period.
2 or 3 months as they
like
get
that.
going. Look, the market cap of the whole crypto universe is 2.4 trillion, give or take whatever's happening right now. Which is a lot, man. That puts it what? The number 2 company. We just talked about Nvidia taking out
Well, it closed above 2 trillion for the
first time, and it was number 3.
Was Aramco, Saudi Aramco.
Right. No, but I'm saying.
But the top 3 are all 2 and above in Apple.
I was going to say, what is Apple 2?
Yeah, all 3 of them are.
No, I know, but what is? I was trying to find the market 277 and 29. Yeah, so right there, so puts Bitcoin number 3 is what I was getting at. Yeah. Crazy.
No, it's crazy. Do you want to touch on this Coinbase stuff because it was kind of interesting, but I mean it came and went and it didn't seem to be an issue. I mean,
my only thing about go ahead.
I mean, the statement that they came out and made was that there was such an influx of volume during that spike and crash that it crashed the exchange.
So I tweeted something out. It's like, does this mean that how many fees is Coinbase going to be collecting this quarter? Monster amount of fees?
Or maybe having to refund some of those said fees?
Maybe, but you know what? There's always these disclaimers. Robinhood, basically, these guys had to go in front of the feds, basically, and explain what the heck happened there. I don't think Coinbase is going to have to do any of that. But the story is that a lot of these ETFs are having to go in and execute on Coinbase because they don't want to get put offside. Every time I go in and buy IBIT, iShares has to go in there and offset the holdings with Bitcoin, as far as that's how I understand it works. So yeah, as we run up, Bitcoin was going ham, crazy hard to the upside there. And all of a sudden, boom, it's like I literally saw flashes of GME again there. When all of a sudden it was falling down. I was like, what is going on? Bitcoin's going from 64 down to 59. And all of a sudden we heard the news and people started tweeting out pages of insufficient balances. And then Coinbase themselves came out. And I actually, put respect on Coinbase, to be honest with you. They came out almost immediately with a statement saying, your funds are all secure, we are having issues
and it was
with zero balance.
It was all software based. So
and then some people even on the chat corrected and said, like, look, Coinbase, you guys want to hold cold storage for yourself. Coinbase, I imagine, has these Bitcoins in a lock and key somewhere in a safe that I can't even imagine what would happen if something happened there. I'm not going to be educated enough to speak on the protection there, but come on. I would assume that custody is something that is very, very serious.
I mean, Neil was even saying, he saw it on Twitter or something. He wasn't here that day and logged in and saw zeros.
Yeah, it's scary.
Went and did something else, came back, and it was fine. So for some people, I think it was just a blip, and then for others, it lasted a little bit longer.
Do you think we're safer holding than the ETFs?
I will only have ETFs.
Right. Yeah.
I am firmly in that camp.
Might be right about that. The only disadvantage, I guess, would be the weekend trading, but I'm not a trader like that.
Exactly.
I'm not getting in and out, although last week.
How many times are you sitting on your couch on Sunday scalping Bitcoin?
You might be looking at the
Yeah,
wrong guy.
that's a dumb question to ask.
You might be looking
Sean,
at the
but
wrong guy. No, but I don't. I don't do
Most
that.
people.
I don't do that.
No.
But I'm just saying that would be in my nature to do that. But anyways,
It gives you the opportunity.
I like
to,
it. I like
anyways.
Bitcoin moving.
We mentioned it off the top, but PCE comes and goes. We get a first reading or an interim reading on GDP. That comes and goes. I mean, it was a bit of a non-event. I think PCE was more or less just emphasizing what we already know. We're still on track. As you mentioned, Frank came on the show. If you haven't done so, guys, come join us on the live show. We're live on YouTube every single day the market is open. Frank came and joined us from IG on Thursday afternoon.
Right.
We were touching on the fact that he was even seeing I think it was 25% still possibility for May that there would be a cut in May. Still 25%. That's not nothing. And I made the point to him.
Yeah, where did that come from?
That we've seen that in the past, but only as we get closer, then it just gradually goes up to 99%.
What do you think would happen if that happened in May?
It's not happening. There's no point even talking about that because it's not happening.
Next topic.
June, however, is a different story. We get to June, there's still, I think it's 65% chance that they hold, and then 40 whatever, that we get some sort of a move from them. Remember in March, I keep going back to this, remember in March is going to be the first economic outlook that we get from the Fed this year and the first dot plot that we get from this year. So everything.
That's right, they got rid of the dot plot, didn't they?
Well, you get it every 3 meetings or something like that, or every quarter. So we have to go back to December to look at the last dot plot, and they were saying on that one that it was going to be March or April. If that comes out and says September, October, that June is going to instantly get wiped off the board as well. But we'll get that again in the March meeting coming up here in a couple of weeks. We get CPI, Sean. We get PCE again in March before we even get to the Fed.
Fun.
So lots of data.
The Fed is so fun to talk about.
No, it's not.
No, it's not really. Don't you think that like just time just goes by so fast? Like we're already in March.
It's crazy.
This was supposed to be the first cut.
Absolutely.
And then, so can you imagine that if we talked about this in October, November, when we sort of had the pivot and then market bottom, and then started going all the way back up to the upside, and we were like 70, 80% of a cut in March. And then I told you, okay, it's March 1st and there's absolutely no planned cuts. There might not even be one till June, might not even be one till the end of the year. And I said, oh yeah, by the way, all-time highs pretty much everywhere worldwide. Like that would be ridiculous to think that, but that's
what's happening.
That's what's
literally
happening.
What is happening.
I asked Adara here to provide me with, shout out to Adara because I'm going to be listening tomorrow. Go back and find some questions that people asked us.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually I just went over one right now because I remember reading this and we just sort of glanced over Bitcoin, so I'm going to ask this to you. And I chuckle because one of the questions is, why, and I didn't see this until just now, why do you guys never cover Caterpillar? Well, we sort of just talked about that, so boom on that one. That's a good one. Okay, this is an interesting question. I'm going to ask it to you right now. I don't know what my opinion is either, but would you rather, so this is a question on YouTube. Thank you so much. Drop these questions, and we're going to ask them every week. Would you rather, Brendan, buy and hold for 5 years at these current levels, NVIDIA or Bitcoin?
NVIDIA.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I'm going to go half-half.
NVIDIA.
Half-half.
Buy right now. What was it?
No, it's just 820.
820, 822, something like that?
Or Bitcoin 63.
I mean, the price is irrelevant for both of them, I think. But yeah, I got to say NVIDIA.
That's actually a really good question.
In 5 years from now, is it higher or lower?
I mean, the trajectory of Bitcoin has really been something else. And I am a believer in Bitcoin. I'm actually not as strong of a believer. I'm a believer in AI and NVIDIA. I see some of these price movements, but 5 years from now, I'm going to have to go with NVIDIA. I feel like if it was like 1 year.
Then you roll the dice?
No, because I could see, I could just see NVIDIA kind of flatlining now. Like, I just wonder how much.
We've also been saying that for 3 months now.
Okay, but the thing is, if we look at NVIDIA, actually, it was starting to. Yeah, not really. I mean,
like after the initial gap up.
March 700 to 800, yeah, it's not really stopping, is it?
Like after that initial gap up on the earnings, it just went sideways for 3 months.
This is where it started.
Yeah. That was when
we
they
are-
said AI.
We are only, yeah, it was actually down, it was their May quarter, April, May, yeah, so it was in here. But then when they came out with their guide,
numbers, yeah.
3 billion to 9 billion.
Yeah.
But now you're at up here, their most recent, I think it was what, 22.5 billion? Something like that on the revenue side, or 26 billion moving forward. So I just wonder, what I'm getting at is, I wonder if we just sort of go with expectations over the next little while, and then what's the next thing to change?
Yeah.
Like, I just wonder if China, like into the new year, what about those Chinese regulations if they get stronger or more stringent? I don't know.
Here's the argument that I made this to Sharif
It's a great
today, and
question. Thanks for asking that.
I'll say it to you as well. How much of this, okay, there's two parts to this. How much of this right now is based on the build out of all of these AI data centers, what have you?
Right.
And then the other side of it is once that build out is complete, how often are they going to have to A, redo those or upgrade, or B, make more?
Someone said, I asked this on the live show a couple months ago actually, and it was, I said, when is the refresh cycle?
Yeah.
Right, and they said 3 years or so.
Is it even going to be that long? Who knows? I mean, if you go back to, I saw somebody.
Who has money to spend on all these? I just wonder if Google, Amazon, and Microsoft stop buying all these
or once
cards.
they're finished building what they have to build,
that's what
like,
I'm
where's the
saying.
demand going to come from? Somebody made a comparison of back in 2000 during the .com with all the fiber that was going out and all the telecom companies
that
at
was me, JDSU.
that point that was putting out all the fiber that was going to hold the internet at that time.
I realized they didn't need it.
And then they realized that there was better methods and alternatives to that, and they all went to zero.
Yeah, I mean, look at Starlink and all that kind of stuff right now, you know, and that's what I was saying about JDS Uniphase. I mean, just look that up. JDSU, not even existing anymore, was a super high flyer. Cisco was monster. Remember Sun Microsystems? I used to trade that name,
remember
Sun
Cisco?
W.
Like Cisco was.
Cisco was hot fire.
Yeah.
Now they're reporting like the only one down here. But yeah, times change. That's why I was, when we say that 5-year target for NVIDIA, I feel like AI is still going to be there, and it takes a while to knock off the king. Like, no one's really knocked off Apple. Their market share actually is continuing to grow. Maybe we can talk about Apple, but I just think NVIDIA is going to be there for a while. I just worry about the valuations, but we've been wrong selling. So congratulations, all-time high for NVIDIA today, 823.
We, first close. It's crazy. First close ever above 2 trillion. Unreal. We passed over this real quick, but just wanted to go back to it because it's an interesting graphic. First, or an interim look at GDP, still super strong in the US. Gross domestic product total just continues. It looks like NVIDIA's chart. But another reading on the overall economy strength in the US comes in hotter than expected, and all is well. So let's talk about tech, because what else is there to talk about? Google had a bit of a challenging week. Downside again. I mean, we came back on at 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. I mean, if you're joining us on the weekend, we're recording this on Friday. It was Apple, Google, and Meta, I think, were the three. Maybe it wasn't Meta. There's 3 of the big tech names that were negative. Everything else was up huge.
Yeah, Google's definitely one of them.
Yeah, so it's been a tough week overall for Apple and Google specifically. Different reasons, obviously. Google with this AI debacle, whatever you want to call it, that Sundar Pichai comes out and says they're going to fix. And I even said to Sharif sitting here this morning, I don't even think this matters when it comes to Google. Is it a bad look? Yes.
But have they done it before? Yes.
Yes.
They've come out with this.
But they have so many assets outside of this. It doesn't matter.
No.
But
I mean, people are watching this on YouTube.
the question that I'll ask you, I asked him this morning as well, like, was there not a C-level test of this thing done before they said, okay,
Remember
go?
they released it to all their employees first, and then they had a botched when it was barred. Remember? And that sent it.
The initial one, yeah, it was a
and then it sent
disaster.
it down, and then all of a sudden Microsoft just took off because they're like, we got to figure it out, and these guys don't. You know what I actually think is happening? I think a lot of this smoke is coming from Elon, to be honest with you, and I think it's because Grok is nowhere near ready. And he's trying to push, because you heard today that he was trying to throw some more smoke. Shout to Chamath. Did he say that as well?
He's one of the investors in
Grok?
Yeah.
Chamath is?
He was an initial investor.
How do I short Grok? But
Never short Elon.
no, okay. No, I don't know. What about Tesla? Oh no, but
We'll get to
I'm just
Tesla.
throwing smoke about that because I feel like we also got that story today about him suing and looking to get back at Microsoft because of what's been happening with AI.
I want to talk about that.
ChatGPT. Okay, we can get to that. But
Yeah.
no, I think Google's down here at the 200. We talk about PanW. We talk about names coming into the 200. And if you're buying dips, I really like the runway for Google.
You gotta buy it here.
Don't you have to? I think you do, because I feel like everything's just taking turns, right?
I believe I
like
didn't
look at Amazon. You could buy these stocks are all going lower. Amazon, like a little lower. Amazon here taking it out. AMD taking it out. Microsoft taking it out. Like look at that. What I'm doing now,
Look
for
at
those
Apple.
of you that
Bring
are
up Apple.
listening, are all just taking everything out on the high side right now. I was going to leave Apple for the end.
Yeah.
And then Apple, you know,
looks the
the
same.
other way, looking like it wants to go the other side and actually trying to break 180, worried about this. But then Google's the one out of all of them, if you just, you're not Google, if you just look at, it just looks a little messy to me.
Close above.
That's all. It just looks messy, like upside there, great breakout. You're like, okay, we're joining the party up here at 155. Then all of a sudden it gaps down on earnings into 140, tries to get back up there, gaps again into the 50 period of 140, makes a move back to 145, then makes this move back down again. It's not clean. And I think a lot of traders like me and you, Brendan, and people that are looking to invest are thinking, where do we get in? When is it safe? And that's why I just look at the 200 period moving average. Like Google could announce a dividend like Meta did, and then that's through the roof again. I really like Google. I feel like there's a lot there, but they didn't have a great report, to be honest with you. So.
We talked about that stat earlier this week about Netflix versus YouTube, specific, not even Google, but YouTube. And it was 34 minutes. Average view time per day was 34 minutes
On
YouTube and 38 for Netflix. I mean, YouTube is essentially caught Netflix in watch time.
And that's going to get way bigger, because most people that are on Netflix are watching a special or like a 50-minute episode
Exactly.
or even a movie or something like that. And
Exactly.
people on YouTube, but think about, actually, that's actually really interesting, because that, in my opinion, people are on YouTube watching shorts, watching quicker things. So what that means
Short
is
form content.
more content, but more advertising opportunities.
Exactly.
Because if I'm watching 10 shorts adding up to 34 minutes, that's 10 opportunities to show me a Pepsi commercial. Netflix, they either get the monthly subscription, which YouTube has also, right? Or they do the pay for, which is every 15 minutes.
Or you can just be like Sharif and get someone else to pay for the monthly subscription and just use someone else's.
Sharif uses his mom's Costco card, his mom, but that's good for him. I mean, yeah, he can do that. I give mine to my mom
Shout out to Sharif.
and dad.
Hey, Sharif.
My dad always says to me, he's like, something about Amazon, because at one point he paid through the business, another business, Amazon one time. And then, so now it's like it was attached to like the corporate credit card. So he's always like, well, I've got the Amazon account. And then, you know,
Like Prime, you mean?
Yeah, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if, I thought Netflix password sharing wasn't working anymore.
No, YouTube. Somebody gave him their YouTube premium
Right.
login.
Oh,
So
okay,
So he
'cause-
gets like commercial-free YouTube.
I was gonna say, I think you could, the reason why I was saying that story is I think you could still do it on Amazon, the password sharing.
I have no
Because I'm
idea.
pretty sure me and our parents, we do that for Prime.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to talk to Sharif about that. Because isn't your YouTube attached to your Gmail account
Maybe he's logging in with somebody else's Gmail.
to save $5?
It's true though. That's a great point. It's a great point. I think it's more than $5. I think depending on what you get, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? I want to talk about
You know how much I spend a month on just random stupidity?
for $5.
For $5, that's like...
It's not even a Starbucks anymore.
What?
You know, I went to Starbucks on the
Don't ask
weekend.
me
It was
what her drink is.
$7 for a coffee.
Flat white, baby. Yeah? Oh, but that's including tip.
No, you're right. Because I just skipped over it on the machine and then.
I was always wondering about those machines.
Yeah.
Do the machines...
Yeah, you're totally right. Wow, I'm an idiot.
You're not an
I
idiot. You
didn't
should
even
tip.
realize that.
You should tip. It's fine.
At Starbucks?
You don't tip at Starbucks? Do you guys? No?
They both said no. For the record.
They both said no, for the record. You know what? I want people to put that in the chat. Do they tip at Starbucks?
Yeah.
So I don't tip at Starbucks if I'm getting a brewed coffee, something that's there. But I feel like if it's crafted, the barista is crafting it for it's a service economy, baby.
It's not that hard, man.
I'm not saying it's hard to do. Dude, when you go to a restaurant, and I don't have the patience to be a waiter or a waitress, that's for sure. But it's not like it's hard to do that, but we're still tipping them. I almost think it's harder to perfect a coffee than to deliver you a glass of Guinness.
In their defense, I hadn't been to Starbucks in a long time.
Right.
It was a really good coffee.
I know.
It was a really good
I love
coffee.
Starbucks.
I don't know. Anyway.
I don't have a problem paying 50 cents more for good coffee. Like, I'm tired of that. Like, $15, 50 cents more.
Watch me.
You know how much a medium coffee at Tim Hortons is? It's $1.89 plus tax.
I paid $7 for Starbucks on the weekend.
No, but you paid for a crafted. We've talked about this.
Sean,
A brewed, dude. I'm not.
It's not.
We're not leaving this
It's not
alone.
hard. It's not.
I'm not saying it's hard, but I'm saying a coffee.
No, but the
a
word
brewed,
crafted implies there's
That's what it's called.
something behind it that makes
There is. There's machines. There's what? Then this is not AI making your coffee. This is somebody standing there and making it. But the brewed coffee is what I'm getting at. Is $2.49 or something
Okay.
for a grande. It's $1.89 at Tim Hortons, and Starbucks destroys Tim Hortons coffee.
And how much is the brewed at Starbucks?
So they $2.49, I
$2.49,
think,
okay.
or $2.39 versus $1.89. Honestly, if I can't afford 50 cents,
You
go dig a hole for me and just throw me right in there.
you say AI. There is a
Don't clip that.
there is a coffee shop
Yeah.
in our neighborhood
Yeah.
that they rented out an entire retail space on College Street, and it's a robot coffee machine.
have a,
That's all. That's the
have you
entire
seen the
store
ramen
is a
place?
that's automated.
Yeah, on College too.
Yes, yes.
I want to take my daughter there. You just tell it what ramen you
Yeah,
want.
and it makes it.
It seems
Yeah.
disgusting to me.
But
But
from a
that's
coffee shop standpoint,
Yeah.
I've had this coffee.
right.
It's better than Tim
Great.
Hortons.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think that's great.
Yeah.
You're right, man. I mean, the Nespresso. We have one. No, but I'm just saying
get
it's
me
just
started.
a machine, though.
Don't get me started. On
No, but
Nespresso.
no. Right. Wow. Okay. I feel like we've hit something here with
Don't get me
Brendan.
started. Go to YouTube.
I have-
go to YouTube. Type Nespresso reviews, and
Yeah.
you'll go down a rabbit hole that you''ll never dig out of.
I'm not doing it then.
Yeah.
All right. I have actually, because we're getting on in time right now. Are we?
That's fine.
Okay. We haven't done a would you rather,
we
and
have
they were a
more
big
to
hit last week. So I have a question for you. All right. After a big day of trading, or in your sake, just a big day in general, dealing with random people coming up to you at 3:30 and piling more work onto you.
Never
So
happens.
let's pretend you've had a really good week, which doesn't happen.
Every week's a great week.
Right. Okay. So would you rather
Yes.
sit at home with the wife?
Yes.
Grab takeout, potentially watch a movie that you've been planning to do?
Yeah.
Or would you rather go out, have a nice dinner, potentially go to like a jazz club or whatever you guys go, and a night on the, basically a night on the town, or
Friday specifically.
Yeah. So it's Friday night. It's, well, yeah, okay, we'll use Friday. I wasn't thinking about the day, but yeah.
It's been a long week.
So would you say on Friday you would choose stay in,
Stay
but then
in.
Saturday you might go out?
Yeah, definitely stay in. You?
I always want to go out now because honestly, the kids are like if I can pawn them off to my friends or a baby. My kids have never been
Some
babysat.
random guy on the corner.
No. My wife really does believe in this. Actually, my kids have never been babysat by anyone other than my parents
Lucky.
because it's like, luck. Yeah, it's okay, luckiness. But so now they're getting older. So I feel like we do have a babysitter there. And I just think that the more out I can get a babysitter, my kids are like 12 and 9. Like they're not babies.
A friend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like someone to monitor them. A monitor?
Make sure nothing
A
gets lit
hall
on
monitor?
fire.
Is what they're called? Hall monitor? Oh yeah, things better not get on fire because do you know how many smoke alarms I realized I had in my house when my one was going off this morning? So
Too many.
yeah, so I have one hardwired to the house for that exact reason.
Right.
So if the batteries are dead or whatever, there's still one hardwired, so it's still gonna go. So I thought that was making the noise. So I'm up there like, this doesn't sound like it's coming
Oh,
from
that's
this one.
the worst.
And then I just looked under the other side of the chandelier. I had another one there, and that was a battery one.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case. So that was the one in the problem. And then in my daughter's room, I have another one. And then we have one on the main, so that's on the top floor. I have 3.
So wait. Baron doesn't get one, but
No, he
Gia
doesn't.
does.
I know. Actually, I was sitting there. I was like, G asked me one day, she's like, why do I have one in my room? I was like, you know why? And I know why. It's because when Baron was a baby, I had Baxter there. So we only have 3 bedrooms upstairs. So listen
So
to
you
this.
said Baxter.
So I had Baxter
you
in one
smell smoke,
bedroom.
grab the kid, and then
No. So Baxter was in one bedroom, no smoke alarm.
right.
Baron, the baby, was in another one, put smoke alarm in that bedroom.
Right.
Right. And then now Baxter's gone there. So now Baron is in
Right.
the other one.
The no smoke alarm.
Right. And then the baby Gia is in the smoke alarm one.
Right.
Long story short, 3 smoke alarms upstairs, completely probably too many. Carbon monoxide detector,
Yeah.
carbon monoxide detector first floor, smoke alarm first floor, smoke alarm basement.
You're splitting your odds at least with
Five smoke alarms.
fire action happening.
Smokey the Bear.
50% says one of them
You don't
makes
see
it.
Smokey the Bear anymore. Oh, that's forest fires.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You don't know Smokey the Bear?
I do not.
You guys don't know either? Okay, good. So it's 2-2. Fabian has no idea. Or Fabian knows, Ramin doesn't. Put it in the chat. Everyone knows
I
Smokey the Bear.
completely lost where we were, but who cares?
Yeah, it's perfect. That's good.
Tech went up. Very, very strong for the
yeah, we
Nasdaq.
talked. Yeah, Google. Let me check the notes.
Dell is making AI stuff, all-time highs.
Dell is great.
Dell,
Server side.
I zoomed out on a weekly chart of that this morning.
I know. Why didn't we buy Dell?
Like, hello?
HPE is going the other way. So I don't know. That seems to be a very, very interesting story there with Dell. You know what's got me buzzing? Next week we have Abercrombie
Yeah,
coming
let's
out.
talk about that because it's impressive.
This is an 11% short float for ANF coming out next week, March the 6th. I'm lazy on. I shouldn't even be talking about this because I don't know the story. What is up with it?
You asked me that or 2 weeks ago, whenever it
None
was
of
we
us
talked
looked into it, did we?
When was the last time you bought something from Abercrombie
Right.
Fitch? I cannot remember.
But I think it's more for like the young.
No, but
young,
since then, I've actually been asking
Oh.
people that.
and
I haven't found one yet.
what do you think the story is then?
I have no idea.
Okay, we have to do a better job of this. All right, so let's just pass over that.
Leave
We
that
have
in
no
the
idea
comments.
what to talk about.
No, but leave that in the comments. Why is
Look at the
ANF
chart for people that
where
are
it is
wondering
right
about
now?
this.
Yeah, go to that. It's parabolic.
I mean, okay, so last February here, when Fabian was debating on what pair of jeans to get at ANF or something, this stock was $28, Brendan.
Like, do they have a 90%
It's
margin on
130.
jeans or something? I don't understand.
Oh yeah, Neil said that last week I mentioned that I was going to talk about RSIs, and then I talked about it but didn't put it on the chart.
Recall.
Yeah, so I'm going to put it on here. I got to find it. I'm sure
Did
that
we buy Levi?
jeans.
No, the stock.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, of course. What do you mean?
Ramin and Fabian want to buy the jeans.
RSI.
No, but if you go to Europe, everyone wears Levi's. If you come to North
I'm asking
America,
our social media team.
if you come to North America, everyone wears European brands.
Lulu pants. I got Lulu pants on right now.
I do not.
Dress pants.
Pull up Levi's.
Is that really working? Because that was a recent IPO I talked about recently. Yeah, okay, still some room to go. 18 and change.
What is, again, as we said, what is
Remember,
the-
Abercrombie. I mean, do they have retail stores as well? Levi's,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah. I mean,
You're
it's
saying
nowhere-
everybody in Europe is wearing jeans?
is wearing Levi's specifically. Like Levi's is a far more prestigious
Right. Okay.
brand in Europe than it is here.
I'm more of a Wrangler guy.
Isn't that like Walmart or?
Oh man, no, Wrangler was Brett Favre. I just said such an idiot. I don't own any Wrangler. A Buffalo, I think is Buffalo jeans. Buffalo.
Probably Buffalo.
Yeah, those are my jeans.
You buy
I think
anything
I have
this
some
week?
Levi's. You know what I used to have? You had a pair of these, 100%. If you say no, I'm just gonna walk out.
G-Star.
Jeez. Fubo? No, the 501s.
Oh,
the button.
I probably still have.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
For sure.
But now that I think about it, why the heck was I buttoning up my fly? Like, isn't that just more work?
It seems like so unnecessary.
Yeah.
So unnecessary.
Oh, things would be cool. And then we used to have, you have jeans. We had the overalls.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Those are.
I had two. I had
Yeah,
a
man,
dark
sure you
pair
did.
and a light pair.
And mod robes.
Did you buy any stock this week, Sean? Outside of iBit?
I should be more prepared for this. We bought no.
Nothing.
I'm trying to. I'm pretty sure I did.
I mean, it's tough at these levels.
I should be. Next week I'll be more prepared for that question.
I mean, all I bought was Apple. That was it.
I knew. Yeah, I knew you were talking about 180 there for Apple.
Yeah.
So, Pan W.
Okay.
Was that before? When did Pan W report? Was
I
that?
feel like that was this.
I feel like that was last week though.
Weeks are turning into a blur,
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that was
It was
a
2
while
weeks
ago.
ago, yeah.
Yeah, so we're a bunch of idiots. But Pan W down there was a great one as well. I mean, look, you want to talk about an RSI complete change here. Look at this. RSI up here, this is a huge growth stock. Pan W was way overvalued. Well, not overvalued, but was really heated. And again, you see this, when you kind of go to some of these tops again, and you've seen fades in RSI, this one move down cracks it all the way to the bottom, giving you a great entry point down there. Plus you have the 200 period moving average right here. What a great opportunity to buy some Pan W on that dip. I really like that one. Oh, and a name. Oh, what I did buy last week, I think we might have talked about it. I dipped into Rivian. I know this was a name that you sort of got out on. I'm in right here right now. I'm at 11. Literally, my price is 11.25. It's at 11.33. I think that's a good opportunity there.
I had a plan for that. I was going to wait until
Yeah, the 7th, right?
the day before,
Yeah.
and see if there was any more press that came out.
Such bad news from Fisker, though, man. 200 million worth of sales. That's
Yeah.
it.
And going
Doesn't feel like
concern,
too many.
right?
Too many.
We had that Nissan note this
Yeah,
afternoon.
that was pretty
though.
exciting. Where did we wind up for that for Fisker?
If you missed it, Nissan
Popped
came
it
out
up
and said that they
20%.
were very, very close to teaming up with Fisker, and I guess maybe providing some funding at this point, because that is as ugly of a chart as you're going to see.
Yeah, I have it up right here. It's pretty nasty. I really hope I don't own this stock. Man, oh man, I got to do a better job managing this stuff. All right, so 3-minute chart here on Fisker, just to talk about what you mentioned there at the end of the day. We went long on this note, and we actually, where's the bang button? We had Fisker short this morning, Brendan, off that 44 break, and then we went long in the afternoon. And we actually, if you come over to the chart, we did give some back. I think it was just Nissan giving some financing, right? Or their new truck was going to be on the Fisker platform. Was that what the story was?
Financing specifically, I think, is the only thing that matters at this point, because can Fisker even put together manufacturing for a truck?
Yeah, see, even the story today, it says Fisker Q4 report, substantial doubt if it could continue. You mentioned that. Seeks investment from large automaker.
There you go.
So it looks like we get something out of them and Nissan at the end of the day.
But it's a great point. You know, why doesn't a Nissan, a Toyota sweep? I mean,
Shot,
Toyota.
right? What is the market cap?
Toyota has said that they're done with EVs, but it makes sense. You know, if there's one of these bigger manufacturers that needs better technology, they just come and take it. What is the market cap?
Dude, I don't want to talk about this stock anymore. Market cap under 200 million, so under their sales.
Wow.
And their debt is 1.2 billion.
Amazing.
They have 6 times the debt as their market cap. Obviously, I don't know where their cash is here, 600 million. They are gonna burn through that like crazy. Losing 35% margin, minus 35% per car. Not good for Fisker, continues to get crushed down there. So I had actually a pretty fun question to ask you, because we're gonna be wrapping up soon. This is a fun one. So, with all the changes that are happening on the floor right now, we've had a couple traders move around, and I've just been noticing this. I've always thought sitting on a prop floor, part of the fun is who you sit near. What are you looking at? He's looking at the prop floor right now. See you, Wayne. See everybody.
I spend a lot of time in a boardroom during the day, so I don't even know there were changes.
Yeah, remember we have the couches there. No, but what I was speaking about was
Okay.
there's been changes that where individuals are sitting.
Okay.
Not in the layout of the floor.
I'll have to take your word.
Okay, so my question to you is, if you were a trader
Yeah.
on the floor, on a prop floor, would you rather like a sort of a spot almost in the corner? Because we have some pretty spots where you almost alone, not alone, but more private in your own sort of like area to trade.
Sure.
There's my guy right there that's been moving this week, which was spurned this question. Or would you rather sit amongst a whole bunch of traders, like live in the action, where you're kind of hearing, oh, this is what Max is doing, this is what Obi's doing, this is what, or almost in a section by yourself where you could be directly focused, but then you don't get the interaction with all the traders.
I mean, I think it depends on the person. It depends on the person. Like a lot of people are, they want to just zone out, put the headphones on and go to work, and they know what they have to do, and they just come and do it. But there are a lot of people that thrive in that area where it's, a more team environment, and they can say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? So it's the best of both worlds, man. For me,
yeah, that's what I mean. Where would you go?
I think I'm the former. I want to put headphones on and
By
just
yourself, yeah.
do the work that needs to be done. You want to sit right in the middle and have everyone watch you and
No, I was going to say,
listen
despite
to you?
what people
'Cause that's
think,
kind of what happens every day.
despite
around
what
here.
people think on the show, I would choose the former as well. There's no way. I would be, if I was you know, part of the show is entertainment, right? But if you're going to sit there and be a serious trader, especially on a prop floor where you eat what you kill, in my opinion, I would rather have the privacy, being able to sit there and really dig into the trade rather than have sort of everybody really monitoring your trades. But then I do get the fact, and I was saying this to Obi, he sits right beside Max, and it's just like there's a lot, and same thing with me beside Neil and all this kind of stuff. You can bounce off ideas, you know, all the time.
Sure.
Often Sharif will say to me, hey, Katina man or whatever, what are you looking at? You know, and like sort of off camera while Adair is speaking. Yeah. So it's that camaraderie and sort of ideas that you can get some really good ideas from as well.
100%.
And that happened the other day with Neil. I forget what it was. Something was at a key level. I think it was Uber even today. He was going short, which was right. And I was like, oh yeah, Uber. And then I went over to it and thought of a different trade. But it's like bringing that to your attention.
But it's even from the standpoint of if you're having trouble, you know, structuring a plan. Where's my risk on this? Yeah. You can, you know, just throw out an idea and see what others have to say about that. And they might be able to provide you with, you know, something that you're just not seeing. And it just triggers something and you said, that's brilliant, I'm going to do that instead. So
I mean, we can plug our sponsor. I mean, shout out to Real Trading, because I feel like that's the benefit of being on a proprietary trading floor is that you do get people that will train you as far as an office manager as well. There it is right there. Go find it. Real Trading. They called that up real
on cue,
real quick, right there. And we still are. I mean, if anybody's listening to this and you want to hop on the sponsorship bandwagon ASAP, I don't mind, you know, pumping something else right now. Starbucks could sponsor this, then we talk a hell of a lot more about Starbucks. And then maybe you'd get your drink for free.
My
not have to worry about
flat
$7.
Yeah.
There are a lot of better coffee shops.
I am going to go tomorrow to this Starbucks
Yep.
and see how much I did tip, because I did not even
18%,
pay attention to.
Oh, what I meant to get to, what I meant to ask about this was, when you're tipping, especially here in Canada, and they give you the machine, is that number of 18% on the total pre-tax or after tax? I'm going to look at that the next time.
I think it's before. I think it's before.
Right, because if it's after, that's dirty too. Because I was thinking, because then you're 13% up here in Toronto, in Canada.
Because when you get the actual bill,
right,
the tip is before the tax is listed, typically.
I'm just wondering on the machine, like I'm wondering if that would have happened.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
So for example, your flat white is $5, you add 13% to that.
I'm
going.
Then
you're at 560, and then tipping on 560 or tipping on 5.
I'm going to take a picture.
Take it. I want to know. I think let's solve this.
We'll discuss next week.
Tomorrow. Oh, how about this? Do you find that you're tipping more now, after COVID?
No.
Than you were before COVID?
No.
No. Okay. Because that definitely has changed. Right?
I've found that there are more places that now have that on their machine, just randomly, even if it's a takeout type of restaurant.
I have a story about this too.
Okay.
Do we want to get on? No, these guys have nowhere to go. So we were at hockey yesterday. It was 2 days ago. Wednesday, what day is it? Wednesday night.
No idea.
And so we ordered Subway off the app on the way home. I picked it up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the Subway order.
Tip or no tip?
Tip or no tip? I said no tip.
Did you go into the store?
Yeah, no. All they do is prepare it.
Yeah.
It was the first time I saw it, so it was taken back a little bit. Now they'll have to think about this because they are, again, crafting your sub. But do you go to McDonald's at some point? And
Sean, we spent 30 years growing up of not tipping at a Subway or that.
I know, I've never seen it. It was the very first time I saw it, and it was on the app.
Yeah, no, this has become a thing, definitely.
Yeah.
A few things to note for next week. There are a couple of data points that are noteworthy. One is on Friday, we'll get consumer sentiment. ISM services data coming out on Tuesday. I mean, everything else is kind of waiting for the next inflation-related data point. There are earnings next week that matter as well, just to round things out here. We'll get more from the retail space. Target. Crowdsource is next week.
What?
I feel like that's wrong.
TGT? Oh yeah, March 5th.
Crowdsource as well, CRWD.
Oh, CrowdStrike?
Or yeah, sorry, CrowdStrike, what am I saying?
Yep.
Nordstrom's, JD.com, Foot Locker's next week, Bilibili, Broadcom. So more in the semiconductor space as well.
AVGO is next week? Ooh la la, I didn't realize that one. Yeah, we hadn't had them yet. They're the next one to go.
Yeah, huge day today, by the way. For
That's what I was going to say. Look at Broadcom's chart. Wow, wow. That's like a big, we call this like a kind of like a big middle finger to the shorts, like just blasting through on nothing, not even on earnings. Wow, Broadcom probably going to announce a split, man, up to 1.4K right now. What a name this one's been. You go back to, wow, November, $800. You're doubling from November right now, ahead of earnings. What an absolute monster. So I have a trade, if you can ask me about that.
Go.
And it was about your crowdsource/strike. We had a bad number from PanW. We had Zscaler going to the downside as well. I'm a little bit nervous about CrowdStrike up here. So again, a big name into the cybersecurity space. We saw Palo Alto make a similar move. I feel like there is potentially something coming here with CrowdStrike. Could be in there for a miss. We saw Pan go to the downside. We saw, what was it, Cloudflare, which is net. Again, nice upside move for sure. They had a good earnings report, but got faded since that. This was their earning day, faded back down. Still well above where they were pre-earnings, so this could come in. And then we had Zscaler as well, with a dump off earnings as well. I'm a little nervous about CRWD. I do like the space, obviously, but I feel like a pullback into that. What's up with that? Are they not reporting?
I just saw some very strange news.
What is it?
And I quote, Super Microcomputer and Deckers Outdoor set to join.
Join what? Merge? Isn't it DECK?
SMCI and DECK. Super Microcomputer and Deckers Outdoor set to join.
Have you seen the chart of this Deckers?
Yes.
What?
I don't understand.
This name from November is $500. It's $900 right now.
I mean, it makes some sense, I guess. Like
what do they do?
The advertising displays? Am I wrong?
Deckers Outdoor. What does Deckers do anyways at the end of the day here?
Anyway,
We're going to find out more about them.
I swear it was a...
Business, designing, marketing, distribution. This is what I'm saying. They're a footwear company. They own UGG brands.
I thought it was like a sign.
No. That's why when you were saying that, I had no idea what you're talking about.
What the hell does this?
It's brands like this, Columbia. They're not, Deckers is not Columbia, I don't think. But yeah, that's what they are, brands. That's why I didn't understand what you were...
SMCI and Deckers to join.
Yeah. Is that right? Oh, you know what it is? I bet you it's to
the S&P 500. The news story was cut off.
Damn it! I wish you didn't interrupt there because I was going to say that. I bet you it's joining the S&P 500.
Yes. They are.
You know what would be kind of cool though if they did put into UGGs semiconductors.
That would be hilarious.
Warm up your feet.
I couldn't for the life of me
warm up
what
your
the hell
feet.
That was.
Oh, do you know that's something my wife wants? There are actually shoe warming things you can put into your shoes and have it on your app.
I bought my wife gloves.
Gloves.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this on the show.
Battery powered heated gloves.
Isn't that sick?
And they're actually really good.
You really caught us off guard there with that story.
Yeah, I saw that. And
that's why I was like, what are we even talking about right now?
All right, let's get the hell out of here. It's Friday night, and it's the weekend for everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Do you have plans?
Yeah, a lot of plans, man.
Okay.
We got hockey right after this. We got the brother-in-law coming from North Bay. He's coming down from North Bay. We're going to Leaf game. He's coming down to see my kids play, his nieces and nephews. So we have multiple hockey games this week. I have a real baseball draft for High Park, so I'm really excited for that. Sunday night, we all get together at a bar and we draft real kids onto our teams for 4 years. You know, because most of the drafts I'm involved with are fantasy drafts. Right. So we get to actually.
So now you're dealing in real kids.
Yeah. So it's really fun. And but anyways. And we're doing something. My one good thing for this week is actually, I don't know if you've been to us. I know we've talked about this, Tracer Golf. So it is, so my brother-in-law, we've been to it. We really had a great time. And it's indoor golfing. It's simulated golf. It's like Top Shot
They have
or whatever.
one at our gym, the gym I go to.
Yeah, so we're doing that, Tracer Golf.
Okay, cool.
And there's one by my house, and it's super fun. You know, it's only like 15 or 16 bucks an hour. And you can play Pebble Beach and everything. So we did that last time. We only got through like 9 or 10 holes, but it was super fun. Anyways, we're going to do that. So that's my one good thing. Breaking out the golf clubs, baby.
In March.
March 1st.
It is officially March.
Break them out. We're going to have to go this year.
Did you know the time is changing in a week and a half?
Is it spring forward? Spring already?
Like it feels like we just did that.
Oh, man.
Going the other way. It's crazy. Anyways, have a wonderful weekend.
I feel like we didn't tell
Join
people to
us
hit the like, to subscribe.
Definitely hit the like, hit the subscribe,
we've been
leave a
showing
comment, leave a question. We'll answer them next week.
We tried to answer some questions today. We had the
Episode
Bitcoin question.
16. Sean's going to leave me hanging.
Oh.
Episode 16 of the Markets
Never.
podcast in the book.
Never.
Have a great
Oh,
weekend.
what was your one good thing?
I don't have one.
Okay, then have a good weekend, everybody.
Ciao.